Brothers and sisters, thanks for joining. Hey, today let's talk a little bit about the whole Epstein debacle. It seems like this is going to be a story that's going to go down to me, sort of like the JFK files. It's gotten so big, it's gone on so long, and people have talked about it so much and said they were going to release the files and then didn't, that I think no matter what anyone does now, it's it's going to continue. No one's ever going to believe that they've released everything, and which is bad because maybe they will, but no one's ever going to believe it. It doesn't matter. It's going to be like people still think the Earth is flat or Neil Armstrong never walked on the moon, right? It's there. No matter what they do, there will be people that believe this, that Epstein didn't kill himself, and and that the government is hiding things. And it's crazy because it's not really political. It's both Democrats and Republicans hiding things because, on the face of it, it looks like, right now, the Republicans have got something to hide because they're in power. And so Democrats can kind of smell blood in the water on this thing. But the Democrats had this for 4 years and they didn't do anything about it. So if there is something to hide, they're hiding it from both sides. But I just thought I'd bring this up because people might not have seen it. This caught my interest. FBI has secret Epstein prison tape with no missing minute. So for people that don't know, Pam Bondi a few weeks ago came out and they did a drop of about a 2-page memo and pretty much said, and I'm paraphrasing, there's nothing to see here, move along. um, and this is after years of her saying there was stuff, and people like Kash Patel and Bongino all saying there was stuff, and they were gonna release it. Kash Patel went on Joe Rogan and said we're gonna release everything we can, but there's really not that much there. And then they didn't really release anything new. And then they did release a tape, the tape that years ago I think the Biden administration claimed that the video was erased accidentally. It was overwritten about of around the time Epstein died. But then they turned out they did have a tape and they released it. And but there seems to be a missing minute. So let's look at this real quick. All right. So the title: the FBI has secret Epstein prison tape with no missing minute. Um, so according to this story, the FBI has a version of the surveillance video filmed near Jeffrey Epstein's prison block on the night of his death. But unlike the video released to the public, it is not missing a minute of footage. And I was watching the Joe Rogan show the other day, and Joe's producer Jamie said it was actually 2 minutes and 58 seconds of the tape. So someone appears to have gone in one evening and edited that tape several times and taken out 2 minutes and 58 seconds of it. So that's the question. What's in those 2 minutes and 58? So conspiracy theorists are going to, of course, think that the tape was erased because somebody went in there and killed him. So earlier this month, the Department of Justice released a nearly 11 hours of CCTV footage taken inside the Metropolitan Correctional Center intended to show Epstein had died by suicide. The Trump administration immediately faced questions about why the time code displayed in the video indicated that a minute before midnight was not included in the tape. So obviously, the Department of Justice does not have their best people working on this. Like, they got to know that nowadays, if you put anything on the internet, it's going to be heavily scrutinized by skeptics. And there's anything wrong with it in the least, anything that doesn't kind of match up with your narrative, they're going to find it. So if you're going to put something out there, don't edit it, guys. Just put it out there or don't put it out there. And then you're really better off just not saying anything about it. Just put it out there and say, here's what we found. You guys make your own determination. Because even if you did your best and you said all the things you thought were true, they might not be true. You might be mistaken. I've been mistaken before. It's happened. So this is the thing that keeps on going. So let's see, what else does it say? Department of Justice has said the full raw clip would have captured anyone entering Epstein's cell the night he died, but forensic analysis showed the video was edited repeatedly over several hours with about a minute of footage missing. Now, government sources say the FBI, Bureau of Prisons, and Department of Justice Inspector General all possess a copy of the video that contains the infamous missing minute. Now, again, this will be anonymous sources saying this. Who knows if anybody really does have it? You know, if it were me and I was going to delete stuff like this, I would delete the tape. You know, Hillary did that with her email server, and she never went to prison. So, Oliver North famously did that with the Iran-Contra documents. He admitted he destroyed them. It's illegal to destroy them, but it's probably a lot worse to go to jail for whatever's in those tapes than for actual destroying them. It's probably a lesser sentence. But again, even if it was completely innocent, now people are going to question, what's in there. See, it's a conspiracy. And again, this says 1 minute, so I'm guessing that since this article, whoever grabbed the information for this article, since then additional analysis has been done, because again, it's been reported that 2 minutes 58 seconds is missing. I think that's the number Jamie on my source is Jamie from the Joe Rogan show. That's good enough for me. So it's still not clear what the minute shows or why it was missing from the video. The DOJ released, according to CBS, the FBI and the DOJ declined to comment, and the Bureau of Prisons told the network it had no additional information to provide. Oh, and this video here, I'm not going to play it, but I'll link this in the description on YouTube. So if you guys want to watch the video, you can. I haven't even watched it because I don't expect there's anything to see, and I've seen the inside of prisons before, so there's nothing I really want to see there, unless somebody calls out something interesting. But I have spent a little time visiting prisons. The missing minute has been fodder for conspiracy theorists who believe Epstein, who was awaiting trial on sex trafficking charges when he died August 9th and 10th, around midnight, I guess, if I'm right. He was murdered to protect powerful clients and associates. Yeah, that's going to be the story. Attorney General Pam Bondi explained away the discrepancy in the video by saying that the system resets every night. So every night should have the same missing minute. That sounds like, bullcrap to me. I think she's just making crap up. I'm thinking she's heard of systems in the past that do this, and it's a convenient excuse. No, I don't think this is true. For me, I've seen things like that in software. I've seen it in supply chain software that I used to work with, that on daylight savings time would lose an hour. So these kind of things do happen in software systems. But Pam, come on, lady, I'm not buying it that it does that, that a surveillance system in the prison system does that. If it does, let's see the receipts. Let's see some more videos that do the same thing. Trot out an expert from the software company that you bought this software from that says this is what this does. Pam Bondi is not an expert. I do not believe in prison video camera systems and recording systems. She's a top tier lawyer, but I doubt that's that's her area of expertise. She hasn't shared any other footage confirming the explanation, though, and surveillance video experts told CBS that resets aren't a feature of most video systems. The footage was taken in a cell block in a special housing unit where Epstein had was held at the MCC. Is that the Manhattan Federal Correction Center? Something like that. It's funny. They like to put Trump pictures in this article, DNYUZ. So I'm thinking they're not friends with Trump, because this article has nothing to do with Trump. But it's in your face. Trump's in all these pictures. So it'd be interesting to see if they talk about Trump here. Maybe we'll talk about Trump. The block is near Epstein's cell, but doesn't show it. Instead, it shows a common area, a set of stairs leading to various tiers, one of which held Epstein's cell, are visible in the back third of the frame. So I think the expectation is, this somebody wants people to believe that this shows nobody entered the area where Epstein was around the time of his alleged suicide or murder. And so that's why this video is relevant, I guess. The FBI found that the cameras directly outside of Epstein's cells had malfunctioned that night, according to the FBI, and the Department of Justice. Anyone attempting to access the tier containing Epstein's cell from common areas would have been visible in the footage. And I buy that, we need to hear from people who work there if that's true. It's a prison, so you do restrict, areas of entry to sally ports and, things like, if you're not familiar with prisons, if you watch science fiction, things like airlocks, you got one door opens, prisoner enters, the door he came to closes, and then the one on the other side opens. Just, minimize escapes, right? I think generally in the industry they call those sally ports. But Julie K. Brown, the Miami Herald reporter, whose reporting exposed Epstein in 2017-18, told CNN's Jake Tapper earlier this month that there were actually other entrances to the Epstein wing besides the one shown in the camera. It's quite possible that someone from another part of the area could have gone into that cell, she said. We don't know because we don't have anything on his cell door. The doors that show in the video are not of that cell. The Daily Beast has contacted DOJ for FBI for comment. So it looks like the DNYUZ.com pulled this story from the Daily Beast. So anyway, yeah, the whole thing is crazy. The whole Epstein thing is crazy. But people are never going to believe it. That's just how it is. And guys, Department of Justice, you're not helping releasing a video with a minute missing. Just, guys, you either release a video in its entirety or don't release it. You're better off not releasing it. Pam, you shouldn't have said anything. Should have just saying nothing would have been better than saying, "Hey, there's nothing to see here." So what do I personally think about all this? I think, we just don't know. I've got a few other experts that I actually believe out there talking, like, Dershowitz. So Alan Dershowitz was Epstein's lawyer at the time of his trial, where, he went to prison for. So Dershowitz did not get him off. And Dershowitz, as his lawyer, said that he has seen the Epstein quote unquote list. And he said it's not actually a list. He said, and you would think Dershowitz would know, because if you're going to be truthful with anybody, it's going to be your lawyer, and the opposition is going to have to show all of the information they have in discovery that they're going to bring to the court. So Dershowitz would be knowledgeable. I think he's a knowledgeable source. So Dershowitz says he knows who are the people named, but he says Dershowitz claims that Epstein never had an actual quote unquote client list of people that he was, procuring, girls for, guys for, whatever it was he was doing. But what did happen was, he said the FBI has affidavits for people that claimed that they were victims, and so we've got that, and those victims also named other people, people that they had allegedly been trafficked to. And so that's the list that Dershowitz is aware of. There could be other information, but Dershowitz claims that no sitting politician is on the list. He said it's actually smaller than people will think, but he said there are many high-profile people on it, alive and dead, and some of them were in office, but are no longer no sitting politician. So that, if you read between the lines there, that means that Trump's not on that list. Okay. But that's not to say the FBI doesn't have more information and just didn't bring that forward. And so they could have more information. But so Dershowitz is all in favor of releasing that list. But according to him, one of the problems is there's a couple of judges in New York that have sealed those quote unquote lists to protect the privacy of the victims. And these are just allegations made by people. They were never actually proven. So the judges even consider the potential perpetrators in the list as potential victims because these are unsubstantiated stories that haven't been fully vetted and investigated. So, in an abundance of caution, the judges, close those lists. And I actually don't think that that's a bad thing because if there's not enough evidence to prosecute someone, then it's probably bad form to release their names. Somebody could just have been at a party with Epstein and they're on the list, and they may have done nothing. Somebody might have just said, "I saw," I saw Bill Clinton at one of these parties, and then Bill Clinton may have done nothing wrong. And then, but somebody might say, that Alan Dershowitz was at one of these parties and he was messing around with somebody underage. Well, that's an allegation, but until they prove it, is it really good to put Alan Dershowitz's name out there? And I'm just making up names, right? And somebody did claim Dershowitz was a perpetrator at one point. I believe I read that, or Dershowitz said that, but it was proven to be untrue. Somebody made that allegation, and that person retracted it and said, "Oh, you know what? I think it really was someone else." So again, I actually get why. I'm putting the best kind of filter over this that I possibly can. That this could be about protecting victims. And so I get that, and so Trump has gone forward to try to get this to die down a little, and said, hey, release all the grand jury stuff related to it, and that would get the Dershowitz stuff out there. And if Dershowitz says he thinks it should be released, I think it's probably okay to release it. But the judges have blocked that right now. And, it's possible Trump and the Department of Justice knew the judges were going to block it and they were going to have to fight it. And this was just a stalling tactic. But what else can he do? Trump does have to work within the law somewhat. President can break the law if they think it's in the national interest. The president can do that and then fight it in court. Presidents have always done that. Or they feel the law is wrong and then fight it in court. That's not new, but Trump has been trying to follow court orders so far anyway, is what I think. Now, it could be other things. Trump could be in there and he could have done nothing illegal, but it makes him look bad. And you know what? Melania might be mad over the Stormy Daniels stuff, and he just doesn't want to make Melania mad again. It might be that simple. Or it could be that it's people, Democrats and Republicans, protecting important donors who did bad things. Could be any of that. So what do I think? Trump voters really don't care about this. I don't think overall that Trump is on the list or not. I don't think we care. I think, and I did vote for Trump, to full disclosure. We already know what we got. Trump was paying off Stormy Daniels for for a few flings. We know that, right? We know Trump has said crazy things. He's a billionaire. He's been running around doing crazy things. We know he was a buddy of Epstein. We know up until sometime in the early 2000s they were pals. We know that. It does seem, from what I've seen, that they did kind of break up the band sometime in the early 2000s. They haven't been close since. But it doesn't mean, that Trump isn't implicated in some of this stuff. But unless you can implicate Trump doing stuff with underage, girls or boys, who cares? Like, this is what rich people do. We know they're all a little sleazy. It's what rich people and politicians do, all of them, and so we knew that when we hired him, he was just better than Kamala, or he was just better than Joe. So we know that. So we don't care. I do care a little bit that um, you know, Maxwell went to prison for 20 years for procuring underage girls, I believe. I believe that's what she went to prison for. I could be wrong, um, for people. And Epstein went to prison for pretty much that same thing. And none of the people that they were procured for have gone to prison. And we don't know their names. But it seems logical to me that if these two went to prison for procuring girls for people, did they just procure girls for themselves? If not, who? And um, and so why aren't we throwing some of them in prison? I'm all for throwing pedophiles in prison. Uh, but I think the big thing is, to me, Trump came in here and said he was going to drain the swamp. He was going to release all this stuff and clean up, and he won't release this for some reason. Something stinks here, and I think Trump voters don't like it. And it's because he said he was going to do one thing and he's not doing it, and we're kind of holding him to his word. We want results. That's why we voted you in, Trump. You said you would do things. You were going to fix the economy. You were going to kill DEI and woke. You were going to stop, men from boxing with women in women's sports and beating the crap out of them. Taking away medals from young girls in swimming because men just decided to play, pretend like they're women. Because I don't believe any of those men, by the way. I think so. I think like there are legitimate people that are trans, and God bless them. Go be trans, as long as they're adults. But do leave the little kids alone. But if you're an adult, go knock yourself out. But I do believe that there are also people pretending to be trans, either to get an advantage in sports. They get scholarships, they get money, they get fame, they get medals. They took over like 900 medals from girls and women. It's crazy. It was crazy time. It's Looney Tunes. And then beating them up in combat sports. Crazy. So I'm happy Trump did all of that. So, and there are actual sick, crazy people out there that are just pretending to be women just so they can go into women's bathrooms, because that's their thing. And those folks doing that are just perverts. And so, yes, I'm completely happy that Trump is stopping all of that stuff that I think is nonsense. But this thing, for some reason, Trump won't touch this, and no one will touch this, Republicans or Democrats. Democrats are talking tough about it because they know Trump's not going to release anything, I believe, because if they would have done it in the last 4 years. But anyway, so I went on my rant about trans and other stuff. But come on, guys. My prediction here is Trump will release more information in the next 2 weeks. He's got to figure out how to get around the courts and do it legally. I get that, but this thing's not dying down. So I'm thinking he's going to release something more in the next 2 weeks. I mean, and I'm going to be glad to see it, but it's too late. No matter what he releases, it won't be enough. There will always be people that say he's hiding things, and I hope that he releases as much as he can, and that that will actually calm the noise down a little bit. So that's what I thought. Went a little bit of a tangent there and a rant. Hey, let me know. Like and subscribe if you liked it. If you don't like it, don't watch it, because as South Park said, this probably shouldn't be watched by anybody. I did a video on South Park too, so go watch that. Their Trump episode is hilarious. It is. Hey, if it's funny, I'm going to say it's funny. It's just how it is. But anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll do it again later. Thanks. Bye.